In the hilly lands of Mewar, under the blazing sun over the Aravalli, stood a king who never bowed, Maharana Pratap, the symbol of Rajput courage. While all of India bowed before the Mughal banner, he alone stood against the storm of power. Born in 1540, Pratap Singh grew up in the shadow of honor. From childhood he was taught, Rajputs do not surrender. Rajputs die with their swords in their hands. Those words instilled a fire in his heart that never quenched. Meanwhile, in the north, Emperor Akbar expanded his power. One kingdom after another bowed under his banner. Only one small region in the west resisted, Mewar. A Mughal envoy arrived, bearing a message of peace coupled with a threat. Bow down to Akbar and Mewar will be given peace. But Maharana Pratap only smiled faintly. Peace without honor is slow destruction, he said firmly. Mewar prepared, not with a large army but with iron resolve. Pratap knew that fighting the Mughals was like braving a storm, but for a Rajput, honor was worth more than life. 1576, the Battle of Haldighati. The sky turned red. The ground trembled with the pounding of horses and the beating of war drums. Pratap led his troops himself, riding his beloved steed, Chetak. With a resounding war cry, Pratap charged through the Mughal ranks. Arrows and spears rained down from all directions, but none could stop him. He nearly killed the Mughal commander Man Singh in a duel that would shake legend. But the enemy was too numerous. Pratap was mortally wounded, and Chetak was struck in the leg by a spear. Despite his injuries, Chetak ran across the river, saving his master. But on the other bank, the horse collapsed. He breathed his last in the king's lap. Pratap's tears fell on the blood-soaked ground. Pratap lost his palace, his lands, and most of his army. He hid in the Aravalli forests with his family, subsisting on roots and wild berries. But his spirit never wavered. The queen and her children were starving. One night, Pratap saw his son crying from hunger. He looked up at the sky and vowed, "I will not eat from the golden plate until Mewar is free." Mewar was now just a tiny shadow in the sea of Mughal power. But from that tiny speck, the embers of resistance continued to burn. Little by little, the once fearful petty kings began to return. They saw Pratap's steadfastness and said, "If he hasn't surrendered, why should we submit?" Quietly, Pratap rebuilt his army. It wasn't as large as before, but this time they were fighting not for land but for honor. Attack after small attack rocked the Mughal army. Pratap was like a shadow in the night, coming suddenly, then disappearing before sunrise. After years of struggle, he had reclaimed a portion of Mewar. Though small for Pratap, it wasn't just a victory, it was proof that honor cannot be conquered. Towards the end of his life, Maharana Pratap wrote a message to his son. "Never let fear bow your head, for the Rajput head bows only to God." In 1597, the Lion of Mewar breathed his last. He left without a crown, but with eternal honor. Today, a statue of Maharana Pratap and his horse, Chetak, stands majestically in Udaipur, a reminder that true courage is not about winning, but about never giving up. The legend of Maharana Pratap lives on in every breeze of Mewar, a tale of a king who lost everything, except courage, because a few defeats are more glorious than 1,000 victories.